What's up, fam? Extraordinary Life with Elijah. And I think this week, Kailani is my extra, and I am the ordinary. I was having lunch with the girls here the other day, and as per course of us being silly, I was feeding Bowden, and the girls often, not always, but often ask me to tell them stories whenever we're having lunch together. And my stories get a little bit crazy. I think sometimes I make myself cry with my own stories. Sometimes the girls get scared. We get a little crazy. So I was telling stories to the girls, and one of our favorites is about Freddy the fox, and he's always trying to eat this little squirrel, and the girls get a little animated about helping to keep the little squirrel safe. But oh man, I'll tell you what, this last week, Kailani got all sorts of intense. As per our usual, our story had twisted up to a ridiculous state where animals are being chased and chewed up, and Kailani gets such an intense look on her face. She screws up her face, she's so emotive. And in the midst of the story, she just flew off the handle. She had to insert herself in the story, and she started, as little kids do, just looking around. Her little mind's just panting for words. And she's like, if Freddy the fox, if he, I would take my spoon and I would hit him on the spoon. Not doing enough damage. Shifted over to her bowl. I'd take my bowl and I'd hit him on the head. And then she just went in for the kill. She looked at me, she said, no, I stick my tongue out at him and he would die. Oh, as I just listened to her little heart fumbling for expressions of ferocity that she landed on, I would stick my tongue out at him and he would die, was just the ultimate. I think why that speaks to me so much is I remember being a little guy when my sister Sarah was adopted. I have memories that go clear back to very early childhood, and I can remember specifically sitting in the kitchen at the house that we lived in Craigville, Indiana. My mom had me up on the counter right next to the stove, in between the refrigerator and the stove, and my brother, he was off to my right, my older brother Zachary, and my mom was talking to us about how we're going to be getting a little sister named Sarah, and that she wanted us boys to be good brothers and to protect our sister. And I remember I had this very intense vision of me sitting up in a tree taking care of my sister Sarah. These three men were walking down a highway dressed in leather coats, and in the vision I could tell that they were bent on hurting Sarah. And so as I saw this vision, I was just dead set that I had to protect her. And I remember I was like, I'm gonna protect her and I'm gonna do damage to these men. I'm gonna cause them so much pain that they're not gonna want to hurt my sister. I'm gonna drive them away. And at that point, the thing that I knew that would hurt the absolute worst would be to snap them with a rubber band. That is the most ferocious thing in my little 5-year-old heart that I knew to do to drive off the bad guys. But I remember in that context, though, that my mom heard what I said, and rather than encouraging my heart, my idea seemed really dumb, and she was afraid for me and her new daughter. Now, granted, her being mature and knowing that 3 grown men being snapped by a 5-year-old boy with a rubber band was probably not going to do much damage to help protect Sarah. But rather than listening through to the ferocity of my little immature heart and saying that I was going to do malfeasance to these men's faces, instead, she just said, that's the dumbest idea I've ever heard. Don't ever do that. If you were to do that, they would probably hurt you and take your sister away. If anything like that happens, just come tell me and we'll call the police. That is true. However, what I learned from that circumstance is that in my context, having access to my heart and mind. And what I was thinking in that moment, the ferocity, I remember just the fierce sense of justice and love for my new sister, that I was prepared to go to war and die to protect my sister. But it just came out in an immature fashion. So I think out of that aspect of having that memory as a little boy, and then getting to sit with Kailani and hearing her say that she was just gonna stick her tongue out at this mean fox that was trying to eat the baby squirrel, and that the fox would just fall over and die. I hear a ferocity and a level of warfare in my daughter that far exceeds my own. Much in the same way as Saul looked to his swords and his armor and his spears to protect him, but that David saw enemies of his authority that he could take down with just a sling and a stone, something that was ridiculous in Saul's eyes, ridiculous in the defined methodologies of warfare. So also Kailani dreams of overwhelming enemies with sticking her tongue out at them rather than snapping them with a rubber band. I think the thing that I celebrate about that is, number one, that I had the experiences as a kid to be able to remember what it was like to be a little kid and to have a heart of ferocity, and not to have it seen and recognized, and how much that hurt, the things that I've had to work through as a result of that sense of condemnation and my point of strength. But now, as being an adult with children, that I'm able to listen to their young hearts and not only see the expression of their greatness termed albeit very immature words and very ridiculous plans, but to truly hear what she's saying and say, Kailani, honey, I love your fierce heart. You are so passionate. I'll tell you what, that fox, he's a goner. I think it's just so beautiful. And so my encouragement to you is that in your life, as you either deal with your own children or you're working with immature disciples or whatever context of immaturity that you're in, to listen past what people are saying and to listen with the heart of a child. And what you're going to hear is that the person that you are engaged with is not only ferocious, that is, they're not only fierce, courageous, and that they were made for exploits. You're going to find that their passion and intensity is probably far past your own immaturity. I hope that makes sense to you guys. I think just to encourage you that me and my mom, obviously over all of these years that we've had the opportunity to work through those things, that she recognizes that she was a immature mom and was more focused on fear and keeping her kids safe and looking at things in the physical rather than looking in the spiritual. So reconciled, and it's been beautiful to share those experiences with her and to learn together how I can parent my kids better as a result of her doing well. If you subscribe to what I'm doing, hit the button. Hit it and then get it. Hit the bell as well so you get notified with the new content. And if you loved this video, you didn't just like it, hit the thumbs down button. I pray blessings on your day. I love you guys lots, and I will see you in the next video.